shortly, based in Portland, Oregon.
Sure.
We're going to be accepting questions in the question box just at the bottom. But there's loads of questions actually people sent in yesterday. So I'm just
Great.
gonna yeah. So is there anything you want to focus on today?
No focus.
No focus, because there's a lot of questions.
That's great.
um so we can start off with okay. This is really this is probably a question we get a lot, like through email. But it is, my scale fell down from the bar on the floor, broken heart emoji. Really don't know if it's okay or something went wrong. So what would you do straight away?
First thing I would ask is, which scale are you referring to? Are you referring to the Pearl? Did you have it on the bar for your portafilter, or was it the Lunar?
Yeah.
It definitely depends on those two scales. If the Lunar dropped, it could have experienced a dent from the drop, and that could throw off your weighing sensor just by just from the base and the shell touching, from being dented in. So those 2 points of contact are going to cause your scale to drift. I would, if it's the Lunar, maybe try to calibrate it with the 100-gram calibration weight. Reach out to us for sure, support at Acaia.co. If you can, send a video via like a Dropbox link or iCloud link or something like that. Sometimes videos can get rejected due to like a limited file size that we can receive. But yeah, that's like best way to go is just like email us a video of what's going on, and if you can, send the video via a Dropbox link. Make sure to not make it private.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen, I think we get a lot of people asking us, well, they don't, like, I think a lot of people don't claim that they dropped it, but because no one wants to claim that they dropped the scale. It's a very sad thing.
Yeah, no, that's fair. But just be honest with us. Kind of like worst case scenarios. If say it was a Pearl, at most like your load cell would need to be possibly replaced or repaired. It kind of really depends on where you're located as well, as to who can perform what repairs. But yeah, just reach out to us. What's up, Nat?
This one just came in. How to maintain battery life when not using them. So I guess like when it's in long-term storage would be.
Kind of depends. Is it in like a storage unit? If anything, when pulling it out of storage, I would see what the battery life is via the Brewmaster app. It's pretty quick to connect and then go into the settings and view what the battery is. Battery life for the Pearl and Lunar is, I believe, 3 to 4 years, and it kind of depends on like frequency of use. So if you're using the scale just like constantly, then it's going to be closer to the 3 years. If you're using the scale infrequently, then it's going to be like closer to 4 years. I have a scale from 2014 that still has the original battery.
Whoa.
And it's just from using it like once a day, probably every day since I got it.
I have the same. And what would you do, say, if you had a scale in storage? If you were like, say, you had to shut your cafe over lockdown, what would you do?
Just charge it until the charging light turns off, and then you're probably still going to get like a solid 24 hours of continuous use out of it. If you're seeing that the battery is not lasting a full day or a full week, reach out to us. Let's find out what the serial number is, which you can find on the bottom of the scale. Here's an example right here.
Yeah.
And this one's rubbed off, but right there. That'll give us a better idea of how old the scale is and where it is in that battery life.
Yeah. And I always like it's like something I do as well when I get like new products is I will usually take a photo of the serial number just in case it rubs off.
Good call. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the question. Okay. This definitely can I buff the scratch off my gold pearl?
Um, so the pearls ship with, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to see this, a protective layer, and I'm not sure if you can see that. Always
I think I
difficult in
got
these like little lives, but yeah, there's like a little protective film with all scales shipped, and you could actually just remove that protective film, and then we sell additional protective film on our website. They're a little difficult to get on just right. It's a lot more difficult than say like a phone because you just have a larger surface. But we ship like I think 5 or 6 in a pack. So if you
yeah.
don't nail it on the first run, you can try it again. But yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't try to buff it out.
Yeah, I wonder like in what way were you trying to buff it out? Like if you were going to try and buff it out, I would worry about like putting too much pressure on
Too much
the
pressure,
load
yeah.
cell.
Yeah.
And then you got a whole new problem from there.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the gold pearls aren't made of pure golds. They would be way too heavy to ship.
Yeah, true.
If someone's
And they
curious,
probably see a lot of scratches as well.
yeah. And like I guess if anyone doesn't know what the gold pearl is, or like if people were trying to purchase it, it was like a limited run we had, I think.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's something that we only provide at like throwdowns and like other special events. It's almost like a bronze pearl, to be fair.
Like a bronze pearl, yeah.
Still looks good. Still looks great.
So this is
Difference.
this is the question that keeps coming up as well, and we had like 3 or 4 people ask this. What's the difference between the Pearl and the Pearl S? We might have gone over this last week actually, but it's always good to
Nice
go
little
over
refresher. Let me put 2 side by side. Let me know if you can't see it. But hold on, I'm gonna power them on and get them both into a
I
Wayne
can
Plus
take down
timer.
the little question box.
All right, go on. All right, so the first thing, this is always weird. The first thing you'll notice is that time and weight, you're not going to see tenths of a gram in the time and weight, whereas over here, you got tenths of a gram. These haven't been calibrated, so they might be a little slightly off. So you have a different display. The time is a little smaller on this side, and your weight's a little larger. It's easier to kind of like differentiate. Plus, there's like a space between the weight and time, whereas this original, you have just like that dot.
Yeah, and I
two.
will just say that it does go the right way because I think your phone is mirrored at the moment.
Yeah. I'm using that front-facing camera.
Yeah.
So that's like an initial, just like right off the bat, big difference between the two. The Pro Model S has a higher weighing capacity. The original Pearl is 2,000 grams. The Pro Model S is 3,000 grams. So you got a little more room. If you get like a 10-cup Chemex and you're brewing some big daddies, you can go a little higher with your weight. The original Pearl is like tried and true. Like I love it. Pro Model S, it's got like some deep features, some fun sharing things. So you can like upload a recipe directly to your scale and just follow the recipe. We've partnered with a handful of brands so far and have recipes available in our Brewguide app. And we were in talks with like I think 20 other like major coffee companies. Yeah. A lot of it's like in the final stages of being uploaded, so pretty excited about that.
Nice. And then there's obviously like loads of the whole interface as well is completely different.
Totally. You do have like your weighing only mode, which it just displays your weight, your weighing plus timer, and like a pour over auto start mode, which is like possibly my favorite mode. It's like what I use daily to brew pour overs. Those three modes are in both scales, and then each scale has like a different mode, or like probably 2 to 3 different modes outside of that. So pretty cool.
Yeah. I think my favorite mode is like actually for I was teaching my flatmate how to make coffee, and I think the best one so far has been the flow rate mode for yeah, it's
Yeah,
so good for teaching.
it's great. It's great for training. Um, it's great for like if you're going to be training for Brewers Cup. We have one of those again. If you're trying to like train your non-dominant hand, I'm all about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think even yeah, a couple of weeks ago we had the woman who was teaching us about self-care for baristas, and she did say that it's a very good idea to start trying to pour coffee or make coffee with your non-dominant hand, so you
Yeah,
give your other hand a break, give your that side of the body a break.
yeah.
Uh, so it's always a good idea. I've got loads of questions coming in. Ah, um, okay. Consumer edition coming soon. So I guess consumer edition would like our scales are consumer.
Yeah,
Yeah. Would love a mix between pour over espresso, waterproof, yet small enough for it was small enough for yet small enough for espresso. I
I
think
think
maybe
the
they're
Lunar
like
is your go-to.
yeah, your Lunar's the go-to. Because I usually like when people are asking me over Instagram or Twitter or something about a scale that they would like to use for both espresso and filter, I usually ask what size filter are you making?
Yeah,
Because if you're making a humongous big Chemex for 10 people, maybe not the Lunar.
maybe not the Lunar. You could still connect it to your to either the Acaia Coffee app or the Brewmaster app and just do the remote scale screen. I've seen people using the Lunar with the heat pad
Mm,
that it comes with, and that kind of helps provide a little separation to where you can see um, the output. But yeah, directly on the scale. Yeah, just that little bit of height
yeah.
that the heat resistant pad provides kind of helps provide
And
a window.
yeah, I think this person also asked another question, which was I think the 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 scale is consumer because like the reason for the price of the scale isn't because of its Bluetooth abilities. The price of the scale is because of the technology inside it.
It's an industrial weighing scale. Our scales could be easily comparable to O-House industrial scales, in which those cost anywhere between $600 to $800. We are an industrial weighing scale.
Yeah. And I've seen a couple of O houses being dropped, which is also very sad. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, I worked at a cafe that had 3 O-House scales as the pour over scales, and I had no clue that they cost so much. I mean, I would get like an educator telling me like, oh, these are really expensive, but like never putting an actual price point. And I mean, I remember seeing people just like dump water all over those things, and now knowing what they cost and like what all goes into industrial weighing,
yeah.
it's yeah, it's always interesting. Occasionally, I'll see cafes using O-House scales for their portafilter, and honestly, like you're getting so much more bang for your buck if you go with a Pearl. And if you need like
Mm.
a higher weight capacity, you can do a Pearl Model S. It's got the portafilter mode, which is really great. We released a firmware update to where you can adjust like the timeouts of how quickly it resets itself. So
Yeah.
I think it really makes it versatile for each cafe.
Yeah. They're so versatile. And on the I'm just gonna pick up on a word that the Jackson said. Uh, Scale being waterproof. Would you describe our scales as waterproof?
Water resistant. I think waterproof technically it has to be able to work underwater, in which you can't weigh anything underwater.
Yeah.
possibly, but not with our scales. And you wouldn't want
Yeah,
to
it would have to be
either.
something pretty heavy underwater. Uh,
I think something definitely worth noting is that it's water resistant. So if you get water inside it, all you need to do is just give it a little time to dry out. You don't want to test the limits with like Cafiza or espresso, just letting like espresso just run all over it, getting on the inside. Those oils will stick on the inside. Cafiza will break down that water resistance coating, and it's gonna like cause corrosion on your scale. So
yeah. I keep seeing people actually recently, not everyone, one or two people just posting photos of them pouring straight espresso onto the scale. It's bad for so many reasons. One, please don't do it on your scale. You're wasting
yeah,
great coffee on a scale. So unless you're gonna lick it off or something, please don't. But actually, just don't do that.
yeah, just
And
don't do that.
don't do that. Cups are easier. And then also, yeah, the espresso can get in dry and just ruin your whole. You pretty much you wouldn't pour espresso on top of a laptop.
Yeah, you wouldn't pour like a lot of phones now, like smartphones have they're like IP waterproof, whatever, where you can take it under like 3 meters of water and it'll still like operate. But even though it's like waterproof, you wouldn't like dump a bunch of espresso over it
No.
to like test like, well, if it works with water, let's just give it a go with the old espresso. Yes, it is obviously our scales are designed for coffee use and phones aren't necessarily, but you just wouldn't test the limitations of other water resistant products.
Yeah. So our scales are consumer edition. I guess you could say that our Pro Model S is like consumer and training edition.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are priced. Like just saying, I had no idea industrial scales were so pricey. I think it's just it's quality. You're paying for quality.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. The cost to produce our scales is over um, the retail cost of a lot of coffee scales. I mean, the cost of the parts, we're putting in like top-notch stuff.
Yeah, and then you
It's
have to
it,
test them all the time as well.
yep. Put together by humans. You're paying for that QC labor as well.
And then on that question that followed, does the V60 fit decently well? It does. It depends on the carafe you're using, like, or on the vessel you're pouring into, I guess.
Yeah.
Because V60s aren't heavy.
No. Yeah. Not at all.
I've seen them get smashed, but they're not heavy. I've seen so many get smashed. Um, okay. Is Lunar capable of filter coffee? Which is a lead-on question.
It is. So the original Pearl, when it launched, it had two like main modes, which is the weighing only mode and the weighing plus timer. When we released the Lunar, we made sure that those two original modes, those like two original pour over modes, would be built into the Lunar. And so in the Lunar, in addition to those two like pour over modes, you have like 3 to 4, I think 4 other modes that are built specifically for espresso. If you're doing mainly pour over, I'm going to push you towards either the Pearl or the Pearl Model S. If you're doing like espresso sometimes, but if you're doing like a 50-50 mix, or you're doing more of a mix, you're doing more espresso, then I would lean more towards the Lunar.
Yeah. I always use my Lunar for making coffee in the morning. And I always use V60.
Same.
So, yeah. So I think it's like the really kind of accessible scale, which a lot of people can use.
Totally.
Let's see. Do you have any shop in Australia? We have several resellers in Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have, I think, three major distributors in Australia, and they distribute to several different shops in
Yeah.
Australia.
Because we have a where to buy page on both of our EU website, which is new, and our US website, and they're pretty much we have like all these international resellers from around the world.
Hmm.
And the greatest thing about that is that you can find your authorized resellers, so people that you can go to and they got the scales like directly from us. And then also you can also find people who can repair your scales, which is, I can say tech talk.
Sure.
They can also repair scales. So go to our where to buy page.
Acaia.co/pages/where to buy.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jen.
Do you sell kits with weighing scales and travel cases?
We have in the past offered, I think right around the holidays or like right around Black Friday weekend, we've done like carrying cases, like a little combo for I think both the Pearl and the Lunar. That was like several years ago. Um, I don't think we've done a kit since. I think that was like my second year with the company.
Mm.
Um, it didn't like do super great because you have people that already have the Pearl, um, and they only want to buy the carrying case, or it didn't seem that great for everybody. So we haven't ran with it again. But hey, if there's a demand for it, we can definitely look into it.
Yeah. So you
We
should
we
always
certainly appreciate any suggestions.
yeah, you should always email if you want something. Um, let's see. Which one scale do you recommend for dosing directly into the portafilter and weighing shots? The Pearl?
Uh, One scale for dosing into the portafilter and weighing shots.
Yeah.
Either the Pro Model S. It kind of depends on what your drip tray size is. If you have a pretty small drip tray, I would suggest the Lunar. I think Wrecking Ball Coffee in San Francisco, they use the Lunar as their portafilter scale, and they just use one of our portafilter weighing plates. It's an accessory you can pick up. Um, I've seen other companies or other shops just not invest in the portafilter weighing plate, and they use another kind of similar board.
Mm.
I've seen some pretty cool ones where they get like the wood engraved or like burned on their like logo or whatever, and it's just like the same size.
Yeah. I think
So it
there's
kind of all
even
depends on.
yeah. There's even like I think there's a company somewhere in Australia maybe that make custom wooden magnetic boards that go on the Lunar.
Oh, really? Is it like
Yeah,
spec?
really beautiful ones. And then on the other end of the spectrum, I have also seen people who use takeaway cups and sort of bend the middle of them. So it's almost like a cradle for the portafilter.
Oh, interesting. I've never seen that, but that's
It
like
it looks scary. It looked like they could drop the portafilter at any moment if it wasn't quite angled straight.
yeah.
But they
I
used
would
it they used it and it worked. And they were a very, very busy coffee shop in London. So
dang. I
yeah,
You have to have some pretty sturdy takeaway cups.
usually we have some very current, accurate baristas as well.
Yeah, that's fair.
Let's see. Someone asked, any motives for a USB-C Lunar in the future?
USB-C Lunar. It's like probably one of our biggest suggestions. Um, I feel like we updated the micro USB probably about a year ago or 2 years ago. It's probably 2 years ago to be a little more reinforced. Um, I don't think that the USB-C port will be coming out anytime soon, but it's definitely a suggestion. It's something that we are taking into consideration, but I by no means have control over that. I would love to see it happen, but at the same time, I have no issues with the current system.
Mm. Well, that's true. Actually, that's someone suggesting there. Isn't the Lunar silicone pad made for weighing portafilters the one that you can flip?
Yes, it is totally possible, like 100%. Uh, some people just with the rush of things, like with like a rush of a cafe, they want a little more space, so they have that portafilter weighing plate available to them. You have to be a little more accurate, and it kind of depends on your portafilter as well. Um, if you have like if you're using a spouted portafilter, the angle that's occurring as it sits on on the Lunar because it's kind of like that. Your portafilter, if like the handle is too long, it could be touching the counter. So that would interfere with that'd be like a third point of contact, interfering with your wing. So having that portafilter wing plate, you just have a longer surface where you can set that portafilter down. But it is possible to use with the heat-resistant pad that comes with it.
Let's see. I think everyone's asking kind of the main questions again and again. What about flow indicator on Lunar? Well, you can get that with the app.
Yeah, you can do that with Brewmaster. A lot of people who want to track their shots use the Brewmaster app for the log of brew. But there's not like a flow rate indicator or flow rate mode with the Lunar. And it's due to the limited number of characters. I'd have to turn this on. It's just like a limited number of characters across the display, whereas with the Pro Model S, we can make the characters smaller to allow for more information. Okay. Let me do this. All right. So let's see. So here's your Lunar. You got your time and your weight and your Pro Model S with your time, weight, and flow rate. So we can have smaller characters on this display, allowing for more information, whereas we can't adjust like the size on this. And I'm like shaking this, so it's not going to show accuracy. But so when I switch modes, you'll see that the characters are just a little larger. So your time, weight. I hope that information helps.
Yes. The cue box is on the very bottom with the little one with the question mark beside the comments section. So we have a question here. Where'd it go? I always lose these. And this is a common one. Well, it's like something not common, but it's a question I see once or twice. My Lunar had some problem where it keeps showing setting or H2O sign, although we've dried it. I wonder what is happening.
You could have, so we discussed having espresso get inside the scale. So there could be oils dried up on the sensors, and that's what's giving the impression that there's water inside the scale. So what has occurred is there's just like oil dried up on the sensors. We have an instruction guide if you feel adventurous to attempt to clean your Lunar. We have a video kind of going over the process. If you're based in the US or in possibly Amsterdam or in the Netherlands, I should say, we have service centers available that can clean your scale as well.
And then I guess you can also be pinched.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So like when the bottom of the Lunar, the bottom plate and the top, the shell are touching.
So this would be an example where these two surfaces are touching, and it's creating pressure on the opposite side, so just sitting on.
Yeah.
If you have like continuous, let me get this out of the loading screen real quick. You experience continuous pressure on one of the buttons, it'll eventually display H2O. Because there's something touching that sensor. So that sensor could be touched by like physical touch, or it could be the espresso oils. And something else worth noting is you'll see a little underscore Obviously, it's like flipped because of the front-facing screen.
Mm.
The underscore is showing where like it's experiencing pressure or water. So underscore will appear on this side that's experiencing pressure.
I hope that helps. Yeah, and also if you can't solve it, you can also just send us an email.
Yeah.
Always send us emails. So any new fun ideas you're considering for products? Ah, okay. That's a secret.
It's always a secret. We always have stuff in the works. No new scales rolling out anytime soon. So I'm not expecting any new scales that I know of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are we gonna stick to mastering the scale niche? I don't know.
Yes.
Like, yes, we're gonna keep you can not master something. We're trying to get it as perfect as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think that's all the questions, unless anyone has one more question or two before we finish up. Because I guess, like, I think a lot of people have been brewing from home lately.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's understandable.
Because I think I'm definitely seeing a lot of people buying scales for the first time and then asking, like, it's great. People messaging about kind of general questions about, like, things like this, or how do I switch from grams to ounces, and all the other questions. We always have Help Center, and we always have Instagram, and we always have support emails.
I think something I'd like to know is what do customers want to see as far as like additional like YouTube videos. So we did the Pro Model S, and that's like one of our best videos on YouTube. That was like an unboxing and like quick start guide. What else do people want to see? And I think that would be super beneficial.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think people would like. I think I've seen other people doing it kind of like in the wild kind of things, where you see like Lunar and Pearls in different shops and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
it's really nice because now we're starting up because the cafes are starting to open up everywhere. You can see scales, like scales in action all over the world. And like something I would recommend if you want to see if like how a scale fits, and we're going to be doing this as well. How scale fits, how something fits on the scale, or how you can incorporate a scale into like your routine, is like if you go into our tagged photos on Instagram, there's so many cool things that people are doing.
Yeah.
So it's always nice. I think it's last. Okay, I don't know. Maybe you can answer this. Do I need to calibrate the SETI 2270, the one with the Acaia in it?
You
Acaia
can.
technology.
I would reach out to Baratza. Baratza is providing support for that product. We have a SETI 270 WI, but they're doing troubleshooting day in, day out for their products. So they're going to be able to provide you with those instructions.
Nice. I think that's all the questions. Do you have any finishing notes?
Like, comment, and subscribe, I guess.
Smash that like button.
Yeah. Hit the bell for notifications, I guess.
Yeah. Can you do that on Instagram? I guess you can.
I mean, we are taking these little tech talks over to YouTube, so
Yeah. Yeah. There are video managers putting them all up. So if there's any questions that we quickly went over, there'll be videos. The videos are going up on YouTube. We also have them in our IGTV section on Instagram as well. If there's something that we didn't focus on, you can ask it for next week, in like the next few weeks or something, or you can even just email Tony.
hit us up at support@acaia.co.
Yeah. All right. Okay, we'll leave it at that. So have a great day.
Yeah, I shall.
Yeah.
Have a great weekend.
Yeah, you too. Okay, have a great weekend.
Have a good
Bye.
one. Bye.
See you later.